All right, welcome to the INLP Center. My name is Mike Bundrant. I'm an INA Master Trainer of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And I'm sitting here with our goofy little chart called the Quad Map. And I drew this up here, and I'm doing this video because to address one of the #1 questions that I get as an NLP trainer, which is, this is from people who are interested in personal development. And the question is, how is NLP going to help me grow and develop and change as a person? NLP is such a broad and deep set of skills that it's really hard to quantify it in the first place. And in the second place, NLP has been hijacked, in my opinion, by a bunch of slick people who are over-promising, under-delivering, and using NLP in manipulative ways. So my mission in life is to counteract all that and to give people real, solid, effective, and unusual personal development tools to use them in their lives. And so this is something that we developed years and years ago at NLP Santa Fe. It's called the Quad Map. And this is an example of structural thinking, of taking the whole bunch of stuff that's going on in our minds and giving it a structure, making sense out of it, and learning to work with it. And when we do that, we develop a tremendous amount of clarity, a tremendous amount of control over what's going on in our minds. All of a sudden things are clear, organized, and then something really magical happens, which is we can become intentional about how we proceed. And it's not just a matter of going through life reacting to what's going on. We're able to capture and contain, to look at things and proceed forward in a conscious and deliberate way. Maps like these, models like these help us actually raise our consciousness because our level of awareness of what's happening and our understanding of it increase dramatically. And so we're able to make more conscious and informed choices. So let me explain to you what the Quad Map is. This is a personal development model. It's a way for you to organize your internal thoughts and to categorize them, get clear about them, and use them in productive ways. And the Quad Map is really quite simple when it comes down to it. Remember, it's all about internal experience, what's going on within my mind, not what I'm observing in the world. The outside world, which is when we're attending to it, it represents everything going on in the present moment. That's not what this is about. This is about the inside world, what's happening in our minds. Now, we spend a lot of time internally with our attention directed in internal ways. And this map categorizes the way that we think. It suggests that at any given time, we can be thinking about the future, things pertaining to the future. Or, over on this side, we can be thinking about things pertaining to the past. So we can direct our attention forward, we can direct our attention backwards. Simultaneously, we can be either associated or dissociated. These are NLP terms, and they're really quite simple. When I'm associated, I'm caught up in my experience. I have the feeling component of them. I'm seeing through my eyes, hearing through my ears, feeling in my body. So if I'm in the past, I'm associated with a past memory, I'm reliving the memory and I'm feeling what I felt at the time. If I'm dissociated is taking a neutral, distant observer perspective on it. So if I'm dissociated from a past memory, I'm seeing that memory and I'm seeing myself as if from a distance. And when we take the neutral observer's perspective, we tend to lose the feeling component of it. We get the big picture, we get the objective view, but we're not caught up in it. So, back to the map. At any given time, I can be either caught up in my experience, immersed in it, or I can take an observer role, dissociated, and I can be either thinking about my past or thinking about my future. So here we go. Let's give an example. Let's say that I'm angry about something. Well, where would we put anger on this map? Okay. Well, to get angry, what am I angry about? I'm angry because my colleague spread a rumor about me at work. And so I'm angry at somebody. It's something that happened in the past. So automatically it goes over here. Well, am I associated or am I dissociated? Well, I'm associated because I'm caught up in the feeling. I'm feeling angry. So I'm angry over something that happened in the past, and I'm associated. Now, let's take another example. Let's say that I'm anxious about something. I'm afraid I have this meeting coming up, and it's an important meeting. I don't want it to go wrong. I'm a little bit nervous about it, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm anticipating this. Where's that on this map? Well, it's in the future. Again, I'm caught up in it, and so I'm associated. I'm having all these feelings about it. I'm imagining being there and what I could say or not say and what I could do that would mess things up and the consequences of that. I'm associated. Well, let's think of some other things that go on. Let's say that I'm thinking about some of the lessons that I've learned in life. I'm pondering back some of the things I've done, maybe even some mistakes I've made, and thinking, what have I learned from this stuff? Several examples of things come to mind, and I go, there's a valuable lesson learned. So I'm thinking about it in the past, things I've done, maybe even mistakes I've made, but I'm thinking about it as, what did I learn from this? What's really the big picture? So I'm dissociated. Let's say that I'm planning the next 10 years of my life. What was really the smart thing to do? Where do I want to be? What do I need to do to get there? There's various different routes and avenues that I could take. I could take this training and get this education, and I need to save this much money, and I got kids going to college, and I'm thinking about my future, kind of a big picture way. So we're in the future, and chances are if I do that, I'm dissociated. Okay, so there's examples of, at any given time, wherever my attention is, I could be caught up in the past, associated, I could be dissociated, I could be in the past or the future. At any given time, I'm moving around this map. Now some people ask, what's this circle about? This circle is just to appease the people who say we can be in the present and still be internal. This is all about internal experience, and some people insist that we can be in our minds and in the present moment. Just because we're internal doesn't mean we're caught up in the past or future or what have you. And I don't argue with that at all. There's a spot for the present. We do spend a lot of our time in the past, the future, either associated or dissociated. So that is the quad map. That's what it's all about. Now, on this page where you're watching this video, somewhere there's going to be a link that will allow you to download the quad map and print it out. It's a PDF document. If you can, download it, print it out, because I'm going to do an exercise with you that will show you how to use this, and I'd highly recommend that you do it. Okay, let's get rid of these. Because the real magic in the quad map is not knowing it, but applying it. So let's say that we're stuck. We have a stuck state, and we got something that's really bothering us. Well, if we can take a moment and just locate where we are on the quad map, we've just taken a huge increase, made a huge increase in our awareness, and it opens up all kinds of options. So let's say that I'm stuck because I have regret. I said something 3 weeks ago to my wife that I really regret. I just sort of opened my mouth, said the wrong thing, and hurt her feelings, and it's kind of a bummer, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm stuck. I've apologized, but that didn't seem to help me feel better, because I'm really feeling like kind of a schmuck that I tend to do this. So here I am. I'm associated. I'm feeling like a schmuck, and I'm in the past. Okay, got this thing I did, feeling kind of dumb. Well, as soon as I locate it, I take it out of my head, I'm lost in this stuff, and I'm not even realizing what's going on, and I put it on the map, something interesting happens, and you should print out the PDF and follow along with me. Get out a paper and pencil and think of a stuck state. Stop the video recording if you needed to do this. Think of something that really bothers you in your life and locate it on the quad map, because it does something really quite interesting, which is it helps you realize how much territory is open to you. If I'm here and it's a problem for me, then what would happen if I move somewhere else? All of a sudden, putting this in a context provides opportunity. And now the question is, well, how do I get out of here and go somewhere else? Well, with most models, and we have so many models like this in NLP, there are the best principle, I was going to say, with regard to these kinds of models is to be flexible. If I, as a person, have the skill to go here, 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 or here anytime I want to at will, all of a sudden I'm never stuck. If here is a problem, I'll go here. If here is a problem or here is a problem, I'll just go somewhere else. The whole idea is to be able to move around the quad map and direct my attention when I want and how I want. Now, we all get stuck. That's not really the issue. The issue is not do you get stuck, it's can you get unstuck. This is a great tool to do this. So here I am stuck, having said something stupid. Well, if I just write this down on a piece of paper and say, you know what, this is in the past, but I'm stuck because I'm up here associated, reliving this thing over and over again. What if I went here? Okay, I just need to step back. All right, that helps a lot right there. What can I do to get myself to step back? Well, one of the really important ways that we can direct our attention is by asking ourselves questions. So, the question I could ask myself is, what would a neutral observer think? Okay, that's interesting. What would a neutral observer who came along and noticed some guy say something stupid to his wife and he were really neutral, what would that look like? What if I were a neutral observer looking? I'd look and go, huh, I'm not caught up in the emotion of it. There's a guy who just said something dumb to his wife. Okay, at least I'm not caught up in it. What are some other questions that could keep us in this past dissociated? How about the lessons learned question? What lesson, what do you want to learn from this? What valuable lesson could you take away from this? Okay, that's an interesting question. That's definitely a past dissociated kind of question. Well, I guess the lesson I need to learn is I really need to learn to get better control of my emotions and think before I speak. Engage your brain before engaging your mouth. And if I had better control, if I let my emotions flow a little bit more rather than get caught up in them, maybe that would help. Okay, valuable lesson. Now, the interesting thing is I'm squarely here, I'm dissociated. Looking back, I'm analyzing this experience now rather than being caught up in the emotion and feeling horrible. I'm asking myself productive questions. Okay, got that. What if I want to keep moving around though? What if I want to start to move this direction? Okay, well you've got some valuable lessons, you know, that you need to do. Maybe that could be a goal for your future. How are you going to get this done? You want to learn this lesson about having a little bit more control of your emotions and thinking before you speak, maybe considering the other person a little bit more. How are you going to do this? What plans could you put into place to integrate this awareness into your future? Okay, just by asking those questions, I am engaging my brain in this direction. Moving over here now. What would that look like? Would that be a valuable thing to do? How could I do that? What tools do I know that would help me do that? Who do I know that could help me? Do I know one who can do that, someone who can do that really well? And maybe I could interview that person and find out how exactly they do it, and so forth. Now, I'm thinking about the future, thinking about the big picture. How can I make this change in my life? I'm over here now. Finally, what if I wanted to go up here? Let's imagine I make this change and I don't have this problem anymore. That's actually pretty exciting when I think about it. I mean, that could really enliven and enrich my relationship with my wife if I really took that next step in terms of being conscientious, aware of her feelings, and I just didn't make those faux pas anymore and hurt her feelings and then feel bad and then apologize, and I have her go, well, you know, you do it all the time, the apologies are getting kind of thin, and oh no. What if I didn't have to do that anymore? What if I just really integrated this, and now that would be very, very exciting. So now, all of a sudden, I'm here. I've gone from feeling bad, regretful, engaged my brain in a different direction, and now I'm excited. So the whole idea here is if I'm stuck here, move somewhere. These are the kinds of skills that we teach. This is a good example of structural thinking. This is a good example of NLP in the works. It's not magic. It is not a magic bullet whatsoever. I have literally changed the way that I'm thinking about it in a very grounded yet useful and productive way. In order to get here, in general, I've got to put some work in. But I've just plotted out a course. So this is the Quad Map. This is one example of an NLP model in action. I hope that you got some use out of this, that you printed out the paper, and that you did some work on it. I would love to talk with you more about this. Also on this page, there should be a form for you to fill out if you want to have a strategy session with me in which you spend 20 to 30 minutes with me and we talk about how NLP applies to you, and then we talk about which of our trainings or coaching opportunities might be helpful to you. There's no cost or obligation whatsoever. My attitude going into a strategy session is I'm going to spend a half hour with someone. I'm going to be as helpful as I can be to them in that half hour, do my best to give you a perspective that you may not have had before. This is the example of the kind of thing that we do in the training portion of our institute, and I hope that you found it helpful. Thanks for being with us.